evening and welcome to the March 18th, 2026 meeting of the Lower Merion Board of Commissioners. We have two meetings this evening. We have a Finance Committee meeting and a Board of Commissioners meeting. Before we start, please silence your cell phones. There's amplifying equipment available for those who are hearing impaired. This room is also equipped with telecoil technology. And then later, when the floor is open for public comment, comment will first be taken from those who are present in the room. We will then turn to comment from those who are attending virtually. If you're in the room and you wish to comment, we ask that you use this podium to your left over here and that you introduce yourself before beginning your comments. So with that, we're going to start with the first meeting for this evening, which is the Finance Committee. I recognize its chair, Commissioner Zoloff.
Thank you, President Sinai. There are two agenda items on tonight's Finance Committee. The first is for the committee to consider awarding a contract for the milling and paving of township streets. In order to get things moving, I will move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to award a contract for 2026 milling and paving of various township streets to Heidelberg Materials Northeast LLC in accordance with bids received on Thursday, February 19th, 2026, and the recommendation of the Chief Financial Officer with the approval of the Director of Public Works in the total base bid amount of $2,498,750 and acceptance of add alternate unit prices for items 2-1 and 2-2 as needed. Do I have a second? I do, from Commissioner Whalen. With that, I will ask our Chief Financial Officer, Adam Chomsky, to tell us more.
Thank you, Commissioner Zoloff, and good evening, Board of Commissioners. This contract will establish the work this year for milling and paving of township streets, as was presented to the board earlier this year from the Director of Public Works. The township received 5 competitive bids, including the low apparent bidder in the amount just under $2.5 million. Unit prices for milling and paving were up 4.3% compared to last year, but were within the range that the township has received since 2022. Heidelberg is a new name on our bid tabs, but the firm acquired a smaller firm that did the paving contract for the township several years ago. After award, we'll move into contract execution and project approval to use liquid fuels money for a portion of the project before a notice to proceed. And obviously our goal always is to have this work substantially completed in the summer before school traffic resumes in September. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Adam. Do any members of the public here with us this evening have any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, Jody, are there any members of the public on Zoom who wish to comment?
No one actually asked for a Zoom this evening.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, questions and comments from the committee. Adam, thank you. You did comment on the schedule. Certainly we want the work completed by the time school starts in the fall or late summer. What is the expected commencement of this work if we award this contract?
Like I said, it really comes down to the execution of those final contract documents and the project approval from PennDOT to use those monies. I don't recall from last year, but we hope sometime in the next 2 months after contract execution, certainly.
And as the memo states, not only have we budgeted this in our capital budget, but we received funds from Pennsylvania, and we receive funds from utilities because they're obligated to mill and pave only the disturbed areas of roads where they excavate, but we want to mill and pave curb to curb, so they contribute and we pay the balance, and we generally mill and pave our roads curb to curb. But with the contribution from the Commonwealth and from the utilities and our own capital funds, that's the funding source. And can't go without saying that the work is needed, given the condition of too many of our roads. So with that, do other committee members have questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, the motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Madam Secretary, that item carries unanimously. All right, the second item on the Finance Committee agenda this evening is for us to consider approving the eligibility list for real estate tax credits for volunteer firefighters and volunteer members of Narberth Ambulance. I will move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the eligibility list for volunteer firefighters and volunteer emergency medical personnel who have qualified for the real estate tax credit for firefighter and ambulance volunteers. Do I have a second? I do, from Commissioner Bernheim. Adam, can you tell us more about this?
For those that are not familiar with this, this is a tax credit program for eligible volunteers that give their time in the service of public safety to our volunteer fire companies located in Lower Merion, as well as Narberth Fire Company and Narberth Ambulance. Those volunteers who accumulate enough points as established by Township resolution, responding to emergency calls, training, and fulfilling other duties are eligible for a 100% tax credit of the prior year taxes paid if they are owners of property in Lower Merion Township for their primary residence. This is the 5th year the Township is providing the tax credit at 100% of Township taxes paid, and I have no doubt the Township would have done 100% prior to that, but the cap was 20% in state legislation until an amendment to that legislation allowed 100% refund of taxes. This year we have 47 eligible volunteers at an estimated total cost of $42,000 and represents just one tool to recruit and retain volunteers to our fire and EMS services in the Township.
Thank you for that very detailed explanation, Adam. And the list of the 47 volunteers is included in our packet and is a public document if anyone is interested. Do any members of the public here with us this evening have any questions or comments on this item? Okay, seeing none, Jody, your report from last time hasn't changed. So do any committee members have any questions or comments? Commissioner Bernheim.
Thank you very much. Won't surprise anybody in what I am about to say. One, you were correct in your comment that the Township, if we had the opportunity to do this at 100%, would have done so prior to the legislator in Harrisburg allowing us to do so. The evidence of that is when they made that change, within 48 hours, we had passed the ordinance to increase the amount of the tax rebate, understanding that's giving back to the volunteers the taxes that they're paying. It is one of the few tools that we have in our shed to help those volunteers who are the backbone of our fire service. We have our career firefighters, but the truth is we rely upon these volunteers big time to be able to do that. So with that, the school board also has the opportunity to do the same thing. And I have been before the school board on countless occasions with several different of their administrators, getting them to see if they would follow suit. After several promises that they would, and they failed to come forth, I guess 2 years ago, they finally decided, all right, we will give a rebate of $1,500 per firefighter. Something is better than nothing, but it is not adequate. It is not close to adequate. I've asked the school board to at least double that, all right? $1,500 for only 47 of our volunteers. That's people that live here in this township and respond. Understand something. There are about 2,000 calls per year. Slightly over half are false. Another issue to be addressed another day. That means that call comes out at 2 in the morning. These volunteers get ready, they get up, and they appear to go ahead and do that which is necessary. It is unique that we have 6 fire companies with so many volunteers that respond. We need to do what we can. I had the opportunity to appear before the Federation of Civics. That's the group of all the heads of all the civic associations to discuss this very issue. They are committed through their organizations to go back to the school board to see if they can get the school board to up the ante to see that each of the firefighters will get at least $3,000, double what they're doing. I ask everybody in here, I ask everybody who's listening, I ask my colleagues to tell the school board this is an easy thing to do and there's not one person in the township who would object. So, if you are all tired of hearing me with the same speech year after year, you know what to do. Thank you very much.
Other committee members with questions or comments on this item? I would like to add that we are very fortunate to have a largely volunteer fire service who protects our lives and our property in Lower Merion Township. And the township does contribute, but they also depend on contributions from all of you. All residents and businesses in the township are encouraged to contribute and do so generously to our 6 fire companies. With that, the motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, that item also passes unanimously. And President Sinai, that concludes the business of the Finance Committee for this evening.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zeloff. We're going to turn to the Board of Commissioners meeting. And will the March 18th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Lower Merion please come to order? And before we start, we have some exciting people in the audience today. Members of Scouting America Troop 176B from Narberth, welcome. They are working on their Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge, and they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. So gang, if you can come to the Oval just right in front of us here. We're going to, everyone else, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Our flag is up here, so you can just sort of face this way.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Rossman has asked to be excused. Mr. Bernheim.
Present.
Mr. Courtney.
Here.
Mr. Daly. Here. Ms. Epstein. Here. Mr. Gregory.
Here.
Ms. Kramer.
Here.
Ms. McGuire.
Here.
Ms. Sparrow.
Here.
Mr. Timberlake.
Here.
Mr. Whalen.
Here.
Mr. Woodring.
Here.
Mr. Zellob.
Here.
Mr. Sinai.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary, and thank you very much, Troop 176B. That was very well done. We appreciate having you here this evening. We're going to go through some administrative items before we turn to public comment for this evening. So we're going to make a motion to approve the minutes of a special meeting of the Board of Commissioners held on February 4th, 2026, and a stated meeting held on February 18th, 2026, as distributed. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Whalen. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Madam Secretary, that carries unanimously. A few announcements. The board met in executive session on March 11th and earlier this evening regarding the following matters. Litigation regarding real estate taxes and some other various complaints, billboard litigation, federal firearms litigation, police personnel matters, and a potential property acquisition. Friday, April 3rd, 2026 is Good Friday. It's a legal holiday. The Township Administration Building and libraries will be closed for business. Refuse and recycling will be collected. There's a cleanup weekend being held on Saturday, April 11th and Sunday, April 12th, 2026, from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. each day at the Township's Public Works Complex. Residents will be charged $20 per vehicle for each entry. The payment will be collected at the gate. Proof of residency is required, and recycling must be separated from refuse, and no household hazardous waste will be accepted. That gets collected at a different time. And then the stated meeting of the Board of Commissioners for April will be held on the fourth Wednesday of the month, April 22nd, 2026, rather than the usual third Wednesday of the month. With that, what we have next on the agenda is a proclamation, and to recognize Commissioner Sparrow, who's chair of the Library Committee, to read the proclamation declaring April 19th through 25th National Library Week. Commissioner Sparrow.
Thank you. Do I get a talker? It's a proclamation regarding National Library Week 2026. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. And whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, providing access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. And whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations, connecting the dots to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. And whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEAM programs, and literacy initiatives, as well as empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources and opportunities that will support career growth and economic success. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Find Your Joy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Lower Merion, proclaim April 19th to 25th, 2026 as National Library Week and encourage all residents to visit their library and celebrate the opportunities they unlock for us every day. Dated this 18th day of March 2026 at Ardmore, Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Sparrow. We are now going to turn to public privilege of the floor. This is a section of our meeting where members of the public may address the board on any non-agenda items. If you are here for an agenda item that is later, this is for non-agenda items or any other public matters in which the township has jurisdiction or authority. If you plan to take advantage of public privilege, we're going to ask that you use this podium to your left. If there are going to be a bunch of people, I think there might be tonight, then just sort of get queued up so we can go one right after another. When you start, please give us your name and where in the township that you live. And there is a 3-minute time limit on comments. The township secretary has a timer. At the end of the 3 minutes, a beeper starts going off, and it will keep beeping. When it beeps, please just finish your sentence and let the next person have a turn. The practice of this board is to respond to comments after all comments have been made. So if after you make your comments, you're standing there and no one's saying anything, it's because we were waiting for the next comment, and then we'll respond at the very end. With that, does anyone wish to take advantage of public privilege? If so, come up to this podium.
Hello. I'm Bob Weaver, Penn Valley. I created a 3-minute speech that was different from the last, but I'm the guy with the house with the solar panels, a few acres. Even on the drive here, I had to take a detour, and I noticed that a lot of these houses that I grew up in this township at school here, they're all cutting down their trees. And, when I was walking around my property a couple weeks ago, I was curious. I took a count. I have over 100 trees that are over 100 feet tall, right? And I've been here before telling you how I have the best tool possible to clean up all the leaves. It includes about a quarter mile. I'm a flag lot. I clear my neighbors. If you're going to take that tool from me, it dawned on me. I was like, man, what's going to happen when the tools are taken away? I was at the Gladwin Philadelphia Country Club yesterday with a bunch of contractors and talked to them. They are not going to be able to do the job for safety. Literally, this mass season with acorns was insane. Having to clean them up very often. It dawned on me, man, the realization that I might have to cut these trees down. And I do not want that. One of the reasons I bought this property was because of all the trees. I love them. They're beautiful. I have a view across the way of, what's the park in Gladwin? Anyway, like, I don't want to cut down the trees, but if the tools taken away from maintaining the properties, are taken away, I'm not going to be the only one to have that realization. Maybe you've all heard this argument before, but I hadn't, and it dawned on me that could be a realization. The beautiful Lower Merion, with all these trees, might be less. I don't think we want, even the Sustainability Committee doesn't want a lesser tree canopy. So, I don't know. I'll probably be back. One of my friends, hopefully, will get a leaf. They're contractors in the township. Maybe they'll get a blower, and I can use it. But from the research that I've done, the tech isn't there yet, and I really think the cart was put before the horse here, last year. And I really hope that real consideration is listened to if and when we find hardships along the way from people trying to adhere to this ban. But, I would hate if what happens was the trees come down because we can't care for them, for the mess that they make. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
I would ask these kind people because I have an American Legion meeting to go to. I was here at 6 o'clock. Mr. Scott Zoloff had indicated it was, I thought 6 o'clock, but it's 7:30, so I did have a place. Just take a moment. My name's Eugene Huff. I'm with the Wayne Small Business Association. I've worked for Montgomery County Planning Commission. I've been involved in a lot of projects in Lower Merion. One of the things I'm involved with and sharing with you this evening is basically advocating for issues regarding along the main line. Are we ready and prepared for our historical narratives to be spotlighted for America's 250? Ironically, through Interlibrary Network, there's an opportunity to preface our histories. 2.5 million people will be coming to our region, if not more, in the next year or more. Do they know where Lower Merion is? Radnor, Paoli Battlefield. I'm involved with Paoli Battlefield. I'm involved with a lot of things on the Revolution, but that wonderful diorama at the end of the hall there is a then and now, Lower Merion Township, Humphreys Mill, the milk, the fire companies, the components of your history. In speaking with the clock company just down the street near Galifte's, wonderful clocks in their store, but their challenge is, how are people coming to this area going to be able to come and see these shops per se? What we did for the three, please, Mr. Zell, give me about a 30-second warning before I run out of time. For the 300th in White Marsh, we had a series of buses that went around not only to retirement communities and other areas, and we took people on treks throughout the township. One of them might be Lower Merion Township, Lower Merion Baptist Church, where I'm doing conservation on the graves there, working with Shipley students. There's a plethora of offerings here: economic tourism, hotel hospitality, and particularly restaurant promotion. But it has to be organized and prefaced in a way, and I'm now speaking with Paoli, Wayne, and certainly would like to help in this area as well. The other piece was the last note with Rittenhouse Place, where I went for 40 years for my haircut. I know that parking meters have gone up. The suggestion was, particularly for the gentleman who opened up the bikini hamburger shop, he said, my gosh, people come in and they've got to go run out again and feed the meter. A suggestion, please. In Chestnut Hill, with the parking authority there 15 years ago, people would go in with a ticket. They'd get a ticket tab from that provider that would show that they were there purchasing items, and it authenticated. These people down there are trying to run shops. It's very difficult. It's an old town, mid-western type of diagonal parking. Please, the residents there, the shop owners, they're in duress. I understand their pressures, but there are opportunities. In closing, I have a pamphlet just to drop with Mr. Zoloff, and an opportunity for 3 veterans from the 1st City Troop went down and engaged on the preservation of the Washington Memorial Bridge. People didn't even know the care for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. If you have something to give, just please give it to the township secretary over there. And
How much time did I go over?
You went over by 0 seconds. It was perfect. Thank you very much. May everyone do that.
Good example.
Yes.
Not a patriot saying that.
Please go ahead.
My name is Irene Glickman. I live on North Highland Avenue in Marion Station, and I have lived there now for 35 years. I have heard that commissioners have stated that the township will not enter into a 287G agreement with ICE. If that is the case, then why is it so hard to sign a resolution that says just that? Other towns around us have signed resolutions. I have resolutions here from Montgomery County, Cheltenham, Haverford Township, Upper Darby, and Narberth. Happy to share them with the commissioners. The residents of this township want official assurances that their police department will not identify, arrest, or initiate the removal of immigrants in our town. My son-in-law is here on a green card. He's not white, and we are very scared for him. So this is very personal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Rabbi Mira Wasserman. I live in Penn Valley, Narberth, Ward 1, and I, too, am here to appeal to you to please make official, formalize the commitment not to have our local police work hand in glove with ICE. I'm here on behalf of an organization that I volunteer with. It's a new nonprofit called Welcoming Homes. And our work is to support young people who come to this country seeking asylum. Many of them came as unaccompanied minors. They flee war, terrible violence in their home countries. Many of them are survivors of human trafficking. They come here seeking asylum as unaccompanied minors, and they live in shelters that are run by our federal government. When they turn 18 and they age out of the system for unaccompanied minors, they either have to go into adult detention overseen by ICE or into homes of volunteers. So this organization helps find welcoming homes for these young people so they don't have to go into ICE detention. Until a couple of years ago, coming here as an asylum seeker, especially if you are a survivor of human trafficking, was a guarantee of finding safe refuge in this country in keeping with our civic values and with international law. Today, unfortunately, that right to safety in this country for legal, documented asylum seekers is in jeopardy. I am so scared for these young people that we are trying to host and support that they will not feel comfortable looking to the police if they feel threatened or unsafe, because the police might be working together with ICE. So I appeal to you, please give us the reassurance we need as volunteers and supporters of these young people. What I want for these young people is what my own 4 children have enjoyed growing up in this township. They look to our police for safety. They know if they feel unsafe, our police force will protect them and make them feel safe. These young guests deserve that same protection, that same sense of security. Please help us guarantee their safety by making an official resolution not to have our township police cooperate with ICE.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you everyone else who is here on this issue. It's an important issue, and frankly, I don't understand it. My name's Ken Podell. Sorry I didn't start that way. My name is Ken Podell, and I'm from Wynwood. I don't understand a lot of what's going on today. I was raised believing our immigrants are our country's greatest gift and our greatest source of pride. Everyone I know in Lower Merion has had immigrants repair their HVAC systems, fix their ovens, their refrigerators, draft their wills. There's not a roof in Lower Merion that hasn't been touched by an immigrant or the son of an immigrant. There's not a single stone facade that hasn't been pointed by an immigrant. My father's caretakers in a local nursing home were largely immigrants, and thank God for them. My cardiac surgeon is an immigrant at Bryn Mawr Hospital. He's not an immigrant at Bryn Mawr Hospital. He happens to be an immigrant, and he's at Bryn Mawr Hospital. He saved my life. My neighbors on both sides of my home are immigrants. I have colleagues at work that are immigrants. And I understand that this is the first year in our country that we all love. This is the first year that people departing the country have exceeded the numbers coming in. And personally, I find this horrifying. This does not make our country stronger. It weakens us. I am feeling very strongly that we as a community cannot trust the federal government and particularly ICE with respect to any agreement that there possibly could be. I think we have to be very protective of our people, and we have to be protective of the people that are working in law enforcement in Lower Merion. We can't have any room for confusion. So I'm going to stop my remarks by simply saying, please adopt a resolution that we sign and we stand by on 287G program and give clarity to our incredible police force. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
My name is Jean Devine, and I live with that man who just spoke in Wynwood. I will be brief. I do not have to repeat what others have said about there not being a law requiring our police officers to help ICE. You already know this. But here are some additional facts. To become an ICE officer and to menacingly carry a weapon through the streets of Lower Merion, you must be, 1, at least 18 years old, with no age cap. 2, complete an 8-week training program. And 3, won a signing bonus of up to $50,000. To be a Lower Merion police officer requires at least a year of training. That any Lower Merion resident needs to be afraid of a masked, untrained 18-year-old with a gun while exercising their right to free speech is horrifying. If our police have to work with ICE, then their attention will be focused on helping ICE achieve their goals, instead of serving the needs of all Lower Merion residents and keeping us all safe. We need the Lower Merion Police to be the adults in the room and make sure we are all safe. Please adopt a resolution that establishes an official policy that our law enforcement officers and resources will not participate in the federal 287G program. Give our residents clarity as to where the township stands on ICE. Thank you.
Thank you.
Craig Oliver, Merion Station. Jody, there's no need for a timer. This will be short, I promise. In fact, there's so much time, it reminds me of the days I lived in Chicago, young, single, and in love. Sunday mornings were especially sweet. My girlfriend and I would literally hang out in the hammock on the back deck, looking up at the trees and down at the garden. Facing each other, mostly there was silence. With a cup of coffee in one hand and a croissant in the other, we'd listen to the songbirds. Now, 40 years later, I'm no longer young or single, but I am still in love. Not with the same woman, yet Sunday mornings are still a delight. But this is not Sunday morning, it's a Wednesday evening, so to the business at hand. When considering Bartlett's tree canopy report and potential methods to restore Lower Merion's tree cover, the board would be wise to turn away from those who are merely enumerating obstacles and turn towards those who are developing strategies to overcome those impediments. I can provide a list of names in the latter group if you'd like. The good news is that most of you are on it, and that's one reason I know that success is assured. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barbara Hennig, but everyone knows me as Barbie, and I live on Marlborough Road. I had some talking points to look at, but I don't do very good with that. When I pay my taxes every year, a couple times during the year, one of the things I count on is that if I have that 911 call or if I'm in an accident, the Lower Merion Police will be there. They will help me. And not only will they help me, but they will help anybody who is in the township, in Ardmore, in Wynwood. Every 911 call will be answered. And if a police officer needs to go out to the scene, that's what's going to happen. I know that every time I pay the taxes. And if those officers are doing the federal government's work, they won't be able to keep folks in Lower Merion safe. I wouldn't want someone from ICE answering my 911 call, and I don't think the other way around works either. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Susan Gilmore. I live on Williams Road in Wynwood. And I've been living here for more than 35 years and working here as well. And I'm really proud of this community. I'm also proud of the fact that I am a descendant of 4 very young teenagers who came over here independently as immigrants, as many of you can say as well. I believe that a diverse and inclusive community is one of Lower Merion Township's most significant assets, enriching our society through the exchange of different perspectives and experiences. I also believe that the Township of Lower Merion must join our neighboring municipalities such as Montgomery County, Haverford Township, the Borough of Narberth, Upper Darby Township, and Cheltenham Township, and adopt our own resolution that establishes an official policy that our law enforcement officers and resources will not participate in the federal ICE 287G program. Communities are made safer and stronger when every resident, regardless of their race, religion, gender identity, or expression, national origin, preferred language, or immigration status, feels comfortable and safe contacting, seeking help from, and cooperating with local officials. I'd like to point out that being present in the United States without proper documentation is in many cases considered a civil violation, not a criminal offense. I believe that the limited resources of the LMPD would be better used to address, prevent, and/or investigate criminal matters with the township than to address the civil enforcement activities of ICE. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Tony Serrano from Bryn Mawr. I'm an immigrant, but became American about 20 years ago. I learned a lot through that process about the Constitution, due process, equal protection, the rule of law. And it's quite frightening to see the actions of ICE. And when you look at what the federal judges have said consistently now, and in many cases, that they violated the constitutional rights of citizens, it gives you great pause to think about trying to partner with an organization like that. It's particularly important because policing and public safety is totally dependent on trust. And just imagine residents being hesitant to call the police, to work with their community, and to work with our institutions to protect our fellow citizens. And the focus has to be on those resources on the citizens, not supporting civil actions that ICE is taking. So it comes to, it's a clear question of judgment and accountability. Lower Merion must take a measure, and they need to make it public, that they're not going to use their resources to support the federal government in these actions. So I urge you to adopt a policy that our police and resources will not participate in federal program 287G.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nancy Powell. I live in Penwyn. I've been a resident of Lower Merion for almost, I think, 40-some years. I'll be brief. I just want to reiterate the many pleas that have already been expressed tonight, that Lower Merion make a specific statement and state that they will not work on behalf of ICE. So asking for a formal resolution, as many townships and neighboring communities have. That would completely, I think, create a situation where Lower Merion police would lack the dignity that they have today. We would be kind of contaminating our force and making a situation where there would be a total lack of trust, which we've all come to depend on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susan Gingerich, and I live on Schiller Ave in Penn Valley. And one of my neighbors was not able to come tonight, and she really wanted to make her opinion known. And she said, and I totally agree with this, I would like to request a resolution to codify that the Township of Lower Merion, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, established an official policy that its law enforcement officers and resources will not be engaged in the enforcement of non-criminal federal immigration laws. Not only is the proposed amendment, the proposal of 287G, ethically wrong, but I believe that it is an effort to abrogate good governance, a small but key step towards violating many of our deeply held rights, laws, and principles of our nation. I believe that local law enforcement have no obligation to participate in the program, and I urge our district and state to refuse to comply with any effort to pressure them into submitting to this wrong agreement. And we thank you for your service to the community, and we feel honored that we can come and speak. Many countries wouldn't allow that, and we want to keep this kind of country where people feel free to speak and to have a law enforcement that we can count on. My car was stolen a few weeks ago. Lower Merion police came out and took a statement. They weren't off doing ICE's business. They took a statement, they were very helpful, they followed up, and that's the kind of, I think, something that we've come to count on in Lower Merion. So thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Margaret Litton. I live on Sussex Road, close enough that I was able to walk here with my husband. A couple of personal comments in support of your passing a resolution against signing a 287G resolution. I have had very few interactions with the Lower Merion Police, but in each case I was impressed by their professionalism, their knowledge, their fairness, and their proficiency. I think if I ever saw a member of our police department cooperating with ICE, dragging an immigrant away, undoubtedly because of not having a lawful judicial warrant, I would lose faith in our police department and be reluctant to ever cooperate with them again or to call them. My second personal comment is that I'm a retired family physician and I volunteer in a clinic in Westchester for people without insurance, mainly immigrants. These are lovely people. They're determined, they're resilient, they work hard, they're here because they have gumption. They have made difficult journeys, impossible journeys to get here. They're the folks who raise kids that go on to be the leaders of the next generation. They do our dirty work. They get up in the middle of the night to milk our cows. They work in dark, damp caves to raise our mushrooms, and a whole variety of other difficult jobs. Many studies show that they really enhance our economy and make our country better. So to do this campaign that the federal government and ICE are doing is counterproductive to all of us. My third personal comment is that my husband and I just came back from traveling in Europe for 3.5 months. The people there are bewildered by what's happening here. We went to many museums and were about the rise of totalitarian states there, and were depressed by how much this seems to be following, our country seems to be following that path. But in many, many cases, that path can be obstructed and reversed by courageous actions from minor administrators who stand up to the totalitarians. We've got that in some of our federal judges and in local officials, like many of our townships, and hopefully our township will be one also. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm Shannon Amiot from Wynwood. As you may already know by now, I believe the police carry far too much of the burden of keeping this township safe. I believe public safety involves a balanced budget that reflects the importance and relevance of every township budget or every township department. More robust programs need the staff and resources resulting from an adequate investment in them, and the police receive sixfold that of any other budget. This is true also of our nation's federal budget. The military, armament, DHS, and ICE are disproportionately supported, unlike any other department, to keep citizens safe. When, in my understanding, safety is universal health care, efficient and expansive public transportation, massive environmental stewardship, and protection of our natural resources, as well as free education for all. But I digress. I know the city claims to be a sanctuary city. However, even under this agreement, I know for a fact that ICE agents sit outside of the sit outside of courtrooms inside the Federal Criminal Justice Center, and they follow out the person they're trying to kidnap, and they kidnap them on the street. I've seen it 3 times. One of my best friends married an immigrant from Ghana. Even though he worked on contract first in Alaska and then in Ohio, it still took him 8 years to become a naturalized citizen. It is wild how few people understand the process and how little education ICE agents received about the impacts their actions have. Kids left behind, pets left at home, communities left empty, workers that private businesses don't have anymore. I ask that you pass a resolution because just saying you will do something is very different than being held accountable for doing that. So please pass a resolution to keep 287G out of our township. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Katie McGlade. I live on Inwood Road in Ardmore. And I reiterate absolutely every point that's been made, and I want to keep this very specific to 287G and the agreements that ICE would like townships like ours to make with them so that the law enforcement agents can act on their behalf. We're asking not that you say we're not going to protect you, and that we're not asking you for a reassurance. We're asking you for a formal policy, a resolution stating that our law enforcement officials who we trust and who live on our streets, like mine, we want a formal resolution stating a policy that our law enforcement officers will not engage in ICE activities for unlawful arrests against immigrants and refugees. It's as simple as that. We're not asking you to say, anything that would put our police officers or our citizens in harm's way. We just want the community to be reassured that you, our commissioners, stand with us, our elected officials, that we know our police stand with us. I've heard the police superintendent stand up at a meeting and tell us his concern and their policy. We're asking for a formal resolution, codify it, make it true. We're an island. Havertown, Upper Darby, Narberth, Cheltenham, even Monco, even though, that's around facilities, have all passed these sorts of resolutions. We're asking our own small township to do the same. My people who work at my house, like others have said, I've got a woman who cleans my house in Paraguay right now. I'm really worried about her getting back in this country. I'm worried about her doing anything and getting caught. So all we want is that reassurance in a codified resolution. So I'm not going to go further than what others have said, because I think you've heard the heart and soul of what we have to say, and I know you guys are behind us. I know you've talked about it. I know you're going to continue to talk about it, and I will say we'll be back. This isn't the last time, and we're going to keep writing you guys, even if you don't answer us, and I know some of you have. But, we are very, very committed to getting a resolution passed, and we know you can do the right thing. That's why we elected you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Good evening. My name is Randy Harris. I'm a 34-year resident of Marion Station, presently in Ward 13. I'm here about 287G also. I don't disagree with basically anything anyone has already said, so in the interest of not repeating, I would just like to stress one or two things that I think maybe haven't been stressed enough. We have a wonderful township. We have a wonderful police department. I've had the need to call on the police 4 or 5 times in my 34 years. They've been, every time, helpful, cooperative, knowledgeable. I was attacked by a dog. The police were there. We thought we had a home intruder in the middle of the night. The police were there immediately. I was a victim of cyber fraud, and the police knew what to tell me to do. The Lower Merion Police is a respected and wonderful part of our township, and one of the things that makes this township a great place to live and raise a family, along with our wonderful schools and our wonderful parks and recreation, and it's all just part of that big package. I would like to make sure that, in addition to all of the other reasons, that we don't put our police department in a position where, by cooperating with ICE, they might be compelled or forced or obligated to conduct themselves or behave or be asked to do things that are not within their training, or that are not part of their training, against their training, and are not part of the way the Lower Merion Police Department and the residents of our township would like and expect them to behave. And they represent all of us. And please make sure that they can protect us and represent us appropriately and not do anything to sully their own reputation. That would be a real shame. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rose Day. I live in Ardmore, and I appreciate your taking the time to listen, and I appreciate all the remarks that were made earlier and agree with many of them, all of them actually, regarding 287G. I also support a resolution to prevent or to prevent law enforcement from engaging in enforcement of non-criminal activity with federal agents. Some of the reasons that have brought me here are a little bit different, and one of them is that I work in a food bank, and many people who come there are immigrants or appear to be immigrants, and in recent weeks have become very afraid. And when you're afraid to go out and get food for your children, it's heartbreaking. When you are afraid to visit the food bank and afraid to have people come to your house, you can't be the superhero your kids want you to be and bring food home. So we can't have that kind of atmosphere here. We have to take care of our friends and neighbors. We have to take care of the people who work in our homes, in our lawns, in our restaurants. It's very important. When I walk down the street, I feel safe, in part because of the Lower Merion Police. They provide a lot of safety. Let's not dishonor them by making them engage in something that they really shouldn't be engaged in, that doesn't support our values as a democracy. And the last thing I say is that I know that when I walk down the street, I probably won't get arrested. With my Irish eyes and my gray hair, I'm not a target. But if immigrants are not safe, none of us really are. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jane Waite. I live in Ardmore in Ward 8. I've been here about 15 years. I, too, am here about ICE, the Lower Merion Police, and 287G. Unless you are of American Indian heritage, we are all immigrants, and our forefathers were immigrants. The Scots, the Irish, the Italians, the Jews, mostly probably everyone in this room came from immigrants. I ask for people to have humanity when we're looking at people who don't have it as good as us. They don't dress as nice as us. They work in the backs of kitchens. Their labor in farms. And they are being run off by ICE. And I, too, believe that the Lower Merion Police are much better than that. And I would ask that you would codify the not being part of the ICE in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Adrian Seltzer, Wynwood. I want to first thank our police superintendent, Andy Block, for the statement that he made that the police will not work with ICE and will not work with a 287G. But I think it goes further than just what the police superintendent did. It goes to all of you who are leaders in our township to send a statement that lets our neighbors know that you too are behind them. And I respectfully ask that you do a resolution that says this township stands behind our police. And just like Haverford Township has done, Upper Darby, Montgomery County has gone so far to say that no ICE action can happen on any county property. So please do that. I have another 2 minutes. Okay, I was at people know me. People know me. I have another issue. I was at a school board meeting and was reviewing their purchases, and they are purchasing a $72,000 gas leaf blower for the school district, and they told me that they got permission from you guys to do that. And I would like to know who did that. So they wouldn't give me a name. I even asked for a department. They wouldn't give me a name, but I will search you out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Commissioners, Matt Hogan from Penn Valley. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you for all of your service. This is a tremendous opportunity for our scouts to see what citizenship in the community is all about. Tonight has been a tremendous opportunity for them to see citizens coming forward to engage with their representatives and to engage in respectful discourse. This is a tremendous opportunity. This board gets to identify and address issues both big and small of importance to this community. So I thank you. on behalf of all of our scouts. Personally, stepping aside from my role as a scout, I've come to you for a matter that's small. And I spoke with Mr. Courtney about this earlier. One of the things that was brought forward was a $20 fee for disposal for the cleanup. I would discourage you from charging that fee. I think it will be a challenge for the citizens as they're bringing their trash, as they're trying to clean up in the fall and the spring. But again, most importantly, thank you for all that all of you do and for the tremendous example that our troop gets to see here tonight. And thank you for welcoming them to be a part of this.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room wish to take advantage of public privilege? Okay, so we're now going to turn to commissioner response. I'm going to take the opportunity to go first and say, first, thank you to everyone who spoke. Thank you again for the scouting troop who is here. You picked a good night. Everyone sitting at this dais took an oath to the Constitution of the U.S. and to preserve and protect the Constitution of the U.S. and to preserve and protect the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as did everyone who is on Lower Merion Police Force, because they are sworn in here as well. And that's an oath that we all take very seriously. One of the people who spoke tonight made reference to this. This is democracy in action. It is really a luxury and a privilege to have a democracy. And I think we are very fortunate to be able to live at a place and a time where that is possible. Anyone who has been to previous of these meetings know that I heartily agree with all the sentiments that were expressed about ICE tonight. I find the reports of what ICE and Customs and Border Patrol have done or are doing to be horrifying. And just because they are pushed out of the headlines at the moment because there are other world events doesn't mean it's not still horrifying. My sister lives in a township, Evanston, Illinois, that was, to put it charitably, invaded by ICE. My niece lives in Minneapolis. My daughter teaches in a public school in Chicago, where students and their families were fearful and stayed home from school and stayed home from work and pretty much everything else. I personally do not believe Lower Merion is immune from this. Right? These are peer communities. If it happens there, it can happen everywhere. Persecution casts a very wide net. I also agree with the sentiment that was expressed tonight that one of Lower Merion's great attributes is its diversity. It's a diversity that has been increasing over decades. People say that we have more immigrants living here. I would say we have gotten, as a community, we've gotten more worldly, right? We have more people from more countries of origin, more ethnicities, more different backgrounds. And that is a great characteristic to have, and we value it. And over the years, this board has repeatedly expressed its commitment to support and protect that. So please be assured that Lower Merion has been thinking and planning about this issue for a long time. It was June of last year that myself, as a board officer, the vice president at that time, Superintendent Block, Manager McNeely, were communicating and saying, what are we going to do if ICE comes to Lower Merion? So it was last summer that we've been thinking about this, and they had already been thinking about what would be the rules of engagement. And I just want to be clear: the attitude of our police in our township is that everyone feels very deeply protective of our residents, and is committed to their safety, and is committed to the rule of law. And no one supports ill-trained, lawless behavior from anyone, right? Let alone federal employees, I should say, but they are. You've seen that statements from LMPD that you've referred to tonight. Really, a professional police force like the one we have is dedicated to stopping unlawful, disruptive, fear-mongering behavior. They are. So the question then becomes, and I should also, I think everyone here knows this. Lower Merion, does not participate in Section 287G. We haven't signed an agreement. We haven't been asked to sign an agreement. I'm pretty confident this board would not support such an agreement, right? We do not ask our officers to support unlawful actions by ICE. We can't stop them from doing lawful things, but everyone here is opposed to lawlessness. And so the question is how to best address this. And here, I think we need to be careful not to confuse a resolution with resolve. I think everyone here is very resolved for that. And the question I ask is really a question of what is leadership, is how best, given what I have observed is happening in other communities, to best protect our residents against the kinds of things that we have seen ICE and CBP do in other places. And there it comes down to something that many of you said, which is we very much trust our police. And I would much, much rather have our police be there than our police not be there if it happens that ICE is in our community. I think our best protection for our residents are the people that you have said are well-trained, because they are extremely well-trained. They are award-winning. They are wearing body cameras, right? Their presence makes us safe. And there is nothing that says their presence means they are condoning ICE, they are supporting ICE. I personally would like them there. If ICE is ever on my street, I want Lower Merion Police Department there as well, just making sure unlawful behavior does not happen. And so I think we as a need to express to our residents and our community that we support them, right? That we are there for them, that we are there for our safety, we value them. But what I grapple with is a formal resolution to me says, ICE, don't tell us when you're in town, right? I want our police department to know, right? And so that is the concern. I think we all trust our police department. We know them, and we want to. So that's what I grapple with. Beyond that, like how best to convey this thing that we all think that we need to do, which is say like we have a value system in this township where we are supporting people and we will not tolerate unlawful behavior, right? That is the part that I am grappling with, right? But the sentiment I agree with completely. Okay, with that, I'll turn to my fellow commissioners. Anyone, Commissioner Sparrow?
So I just want to sort of clarify. I've been thinking about 287G a lot also. Thank you to everyone who spoke tonight. So 287G is a federal program that local municipalities can opt into. They can choose to subscribe to it. We have not done that and have no intention of doing that. Our police department has no intention of participating or now or in the future. And so when you talk about something being codified to say that we're not going to participate in that, we are not currently and have no intention to participate in that. So by default right now, we are not doing that. In order to sign up for a program like 287G, and I'm not suggesting we do, I'm just follow me here. We would all have to vote on that. We would have to propose it. It would have to be a public process of meetings, just like this one, only where it would be on the agenda. It would be advertised, and we would have to vote on it in order to then opt into that program and have our police department act accordingly. So by default, we don't need a resolution to say that we're not doing that, because there's a process should we ever do a program like 287G. Does that make sense? It's probably not the best example, but this is the one in front of us right now, and I'm trying to explain how it's a program that you opt into, and in order for our township to opt into that, there is a very public process to be able to do that, which I don't think that any of us, I feel like I can say, would agree to, and I think that our community would not agree to, and our police would not agree with either. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that point, because I think it's a really kind of misunderstood component of this, and there are a lot of our neighbors who are putting out the resolutions, and so I think that just creates a little bit of confusion. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Commissioner Epstein.
I feel like too, like the thought process is growing, so stay with us here. I really appreciate everything everyone said about ICE. I have found what's been going on abhorrent. Like, I mean, we've all spoken about whether it's in the coffee shop with our neighbors, I mean, here, there, everywhere. It's tough. It's a tough time to know what to do. We think about it a lot, all of us. And I understand the comfort that comes from having us put our names to the statement. If you ever watch a meeting in June, all month of June, I am wearing pride flag shirts because I want us to have a pride flag and I want a resolution for that. Not because it's going to change my child or your child's experience, but because it would mean something for us to put our names on our values. So I hear that, and I want to see us do that. I think we can do that. Like, I can't promise anything, and I'm not allowed to, but I hear it, and that value, that comfort that we are a community and let's make a statement together, that's the value it holds. Here is my concern. Please don't assign us more power than we have. We are your taxes and your leaf blowers, and that's really important, don't get me wrong, but we have very limited to zero power over the federal government. So if we were to sign a resolution tonight, which we can't do, but if we were, tomorrow, I would not want you to think this was done. Please don't think this, okay, now we're safe. It doesn't stop there. And I worry that comfort will lead to, oh, well, we're okay now. And honestly, I'm just gonna say, this is somewhat personal, I'm allowed to do that. We need to get out there and vote, and we need to speak to our federal representatives. This would be a statement, but please don't make it that we can protect you in ways that we can't. I completely trust Lower Merion Police Department. I know who they work for. They work for this community. I have no doubt about that. No doubt ever. And I agree. I would want them there, whatever was happening. But they also are in this community, and this is a much bigger problem. So as we move forward, and we move forward as a community, and we put our names to our values, and I think we should, let's keep going beyond this venue. Because again, this is, I'm sorry to say it, kind of small potatoes, and this is a very, very big issue. So thank you for coming out, and if you have felt unheard or that we weren't worried about it, please know that is 100% not the case, and I apologize on behalf of all of us if it ever felt that way or seemed that way. I can tell you, we all take this very seriously on an emotional, legal, every basis. We've been thinking about it and only trying to do what was best for every single person who lives, works, or comes through this community. Every single person. And we know that every single person will be treated with respect by an unmasked police officer in their uniform in a way that is lawful and respectful, and I feel very confident that we will continue to do that moving forward. But thank you for everything. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Epstein.
Yeah.
Commissioner Courtney.
Thank you, President Slanek. I'll start with the waste day fee. Thank you, Mr. Hogan, for bringing that up. Thank you, Troop 176, for being here. In the Finance Committee last fall, we were presented with a challenge, which is that our current trash fees don't cover the costs of the disposal and collection of our trash. And there was a debate over how much to raise the fee versus taking money from the general fund, which comes from property taxes. And our CFO proposed an alternative experiment, which was to put a fee on the dump day. So we are going to try that out in April with the caveats that if it proves logistically too challenging, if it reduces the amount of waste that we collect on those dump days, and we end up putting more waste into our trash collection, thus defeating the purpose, we will alter that policy. But we provide a very valuable service in opening up the dump for those trash collection days. and we were hoping that this would present a nominal fee and source of revenue for that. Leaf blowers. I haven't heard anything about a $72,000 gas-powered leaf blower at the school district. We also have no power over their budget or how they spend it. But I will say the budget that we do have control over, our Parks and Rec department came to us after we passed the leaf blower legislation for additional funding to purchase battery-powered equipment and extra batteries to run it. So I hope the school district will follow our lead on that one. With regard to Mr. Weaver's comments, thank you for coming. Thank you for the emails that we've exchanged. We have heard this argument that people might cut down their trees to reduce the cleanup effort because they can't use their gas-powered leaf blowers anymore. If anyone listening is considering doing that, please don't cut off your nose to spite your face on this one. Gas-powered leaf blowers became popular in the 1970s. If you look around at the size of the trees here in Lower Merion, most of them predate that. We had ways of clearing property, maintaining the township before gas-powered leaf blowers, and we will have ways of doing so after gas-powered leaf blowers. The technology that exists today is sufficient for most homeowners' needs to maintain their property. There is an education effort underway that started by our sustainability director. We had a presentation for landscaping companies last month. There will be more coming for residents about the transition, about the legislation we passed this summer that will pick up as we approach the first of our seasonal bans. And then one thing that we've been talking about in the sustainability committee, when we voted on priorities last year, part of the leaf blower priority was some sort of incentive buyback program, some way, because I do sympathize with those who have purchased gas-powered leaf blowers, have this equipment, some way of easing that transition. That conversation is still ongoing, but I hope we will pick it back up at some point. And then with regards to ICE, I agree with most of the comments of my colleagues, but I don't want to downplay the effect that signing a resolution, that making a formal statement like that would have. I am of the opinion that we should do it. We're Lower Merion and we say we lead on things, but on this one, we're not leading at the moment.
Anything further, Commissioner Ordinance? Okay. Commissioner Kramer.
This is one of those rare occasions where I disagree with my dear friend and colleague, Commissioner Courtney. I absolutely, if we were ever asked to enter into a 287G agreement, I can assure you I would vote absolutely not. And I believe that it would be the sentiment of most or all of my colleagues. But I just don't think we need a policy to say we're not going to do something that we're not doing. And I don't think it helps our residents. I think it runs a risk of drawing more attention to our residents from ICE. And I don't think we need it. So you can rest assured that you know where I stand on this issue, but I don't think we need a policy.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kramer. Commissioner Zoff.
Thank you, President Sinai. I'm going to start with Gene Huff, who was here among the first to speak. I want to thank him for doing so and bringing to our attention, really for the first time in the public meeting, about the nation's 250th anniversary and celebration and things that perhaps Lower Merion can be involved in. I want to thank the concerns expressed about our tree canopy, the impact of the ban on gas blowers, and with regard to the other issue brought up, the $20 fee that is going to be put in place for the cleanup weekends in the spring and the fall. Well, like our ban on leaf blowers, things can be reviewed. I don't think we're going to need to review it because I want to say that not only was this recommended by the staff and we thought it made sense, the percentage of the residents in the township who use the service is not that great. And so it is paying for a service that those people who use it, and that's consistent with how we do other things in paying for a service that not everybody uses. And so $20 added up with the people who will use it will have some impact on that solid waste fund, but we think it's the right way to go. The Lower Merion Police Department, on their own, came up with a statement. It was read in this room by our superintendent, who's sitting right over there, 2 months ago. And in that statement, among other things, it says that LMPD does not participate in the federal 287G program. We do not engage in federal immigration enforcement. If you observe police activity and no marked LMPD unit is present, please call 911. We will respond to the scene to verify that legitimate law enforcement activity is occurring. That's their statement. They go on to say, while we will respond to 911 calls, LMPD will not interfere with federal law enforcement acting within their legal authority. And it's important to note that federal authorities are not legally required to notify us of their operations. And there is more that's in this statement. At the time it was read, we all expressed support for it. And it not only does it give us comfort, but it demonstrates the leadership coming from our police department. As we've heard from many tonight, as well as other commissioners, how well trained they are and how well supported they are by us and by this community. And it's a little bit surprising to me that some have suggested that otherwise that may not occur given how ICE conducts their business. It's very clear to us, to me, that LMPD is protecting this community and is well trained to do so, especially under the leadership of Superintendent Block. So I do agree with the view that why do we need to proclaim something that we will not do and something that we're already decided we're not going to do. So I think that the statement has been publicized, is available on the Township website and other places, and I really encourage everybody to read it in its entirety. Thank you, President Sinai.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Zoff. Vice President Woodring.
Thank you, President Sinai. So I've received a couple emails, phone calls about the topic around ICE, and have spoke about it in other forums, and so I just kind of want to address it here. I just want to be clear that a resolution doesn't change how the Lower Merion Police Department enforces the law. A resolution could lead to a false promise, though. And one of my concerns around the resolution would be the misunderstanding of what a resolution even does. While it might serve as a public statement, it doesn't necessarily give the law or police department any more authority than they currently have. So the way they conduct their business does not change after a resolution as it is today. And so should an ICE incident happen in Lower Merion after a resolution and the police department cannot interfere with it, we then pass the resolution for what reason? And the fact that there are residents who don't want us to draw attention to the township also speaks volume. And so it's a very difficult topic, and I think Commissioner Epstein kind of laid it out perfectly that this is bigger than the local municipality. I think the Commissioner Zeloff, in spelling out what the statement says, is more than enough evidence to showcase that this police department will not partake in these activities. But what I don't want to happen is the misbehaviors of the federal law enforcement to sow distrust in local law enforcement. And so the comments being made about what police officers could and could not do, I strongly encourage you, after this meeting concludes, to talk to the superintendent. He can lay out the scope of what law enforcement can and cannot do as it relates to federal enforcement or federal officers coming into our township. No one is proposing any sort of action with 287G and opting into it. And I thank Commissioner Sparrow for outlining that as well. That's something that I don't think anyone here would honestly support, although I want to speak on behalf of my colleagues. So I just want to, I don't want the concerns about federal law enforcement to have a ripple effect on our local law enforcement. They are high caliber, they are high bar, and they are a paradigm for other law enforcement in those same townships that have also passed resolutions. So, with that, I just want to thank Superintendent Block for his statement, and for the police department and everything that they do. And, I too am very concerned about what's going on with ICE and wish that we could do more. Thank you, President.
Okay, thank you, Vice President Woodring. Commissioner Gregory.
I'm a little different when I make my statements, and I have to apologize. I think the world of Superintendent Block, our police force, and even the board, but they say we the people, and they've spoken. It's something that we are the top tier township around here, and we set an example. Us sitting back just looking at, I'm sorry, I have to agree that this has to be something that we talk about, address again, and probably consider, because we are the top tier township around here. Everyone knows it. Everyone looks up to Long Marion. Us sitting back right now, like, hey, we don't know. Andy already explained, if ICE comes to give a call, he will have people there. He will have people there to watch the videotape with our body cams, and I have total confidence in Long Marion Township Police. I really do. I think the world of them. But I think the people are starting to speak, and I think we really need to listen and consider some of these things. And I would agree that he's absolutely right. We are, like we always say, we're Long Marion Township. We're Long Marion Township, and let's start standing up and make that statement that, hey, don't come here with that crap. We're going to, back up. I might be saying it wrong, I apologize. But we don't play that crap. And like I said, Andy, I think the world, he will do what he says, and we are here to back him up as a board, and we're here to back up our residents. And I just think it's us sitting here saying, oh, this and that. I'm like, I'm sorry, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I apologize, but everyone here is making a point, and I just think that we need to.
I've let this go a bit. The one thing we do not do here is from the audience, we don't applaud, we don't boo, we don't cheer, we don't do any of that stuff. That's not just tonight, that's any night. I appreciate that. Okay. Sorry, Commissioner Gregory.
Oh, I apologize. I'm done. I'm just had to put that out there. I apologize. But
Okay,
that's
thank
just,
you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Whalen.
Thank you, President Sinai. Was not anticipating saying anything. Certainly understand all the comments that my fellow commissioners have made and appreciate everyone coming out. I think many of you probably know my feelings on everyone coming out and hearing your comments. I made them pretty clear running the building and planning meeting when we just had 54 people run through here talking about Ardmore. I wholeheartedly support Commissioner Gregory, and I actually think he doesn't take it far enough. We are coming up to the U.S.'s 250th anniversary. I don't think people recognize how truly spectacularly amazing that is. I did do some research. I am a bit of a historian buff. I'm pretty sure that's by far the longest lasting democracy in the history of man. We are still doing it. And we generally, and I, along with, I will dump everybody in this, take our democracy for granted. We do. And that probably means that things are generally being run pretty well for us. But at times like these, we learn, right? There is this glib statement that we've all heard that, quote, democracy isn't free. Well, we learned, recently that this is actually true. We have to fight for it again. And, we all of us here, everyone sitting up here, everyone sitting there, we love this country. I still think it's the greatest country in the world. That's where I come from when I say we have to agree that our democracy is worth fighting for, and we will continue to stand up against anyone who's trying to fight against that democracy. And in particular, as President Sinai said, to protect not only the Pennsylvania Constitution, but the U.S. Constitution, where others are willing to tread all over it. It was mentioned, I think rightly so, and probably not even heavy-handed enough, the role that our federal courts are taking. I'm a lawyer, many of us are, I believe some of you are also, to push back and holding the legal line and really forcefully fighting against to uphold that Constitution. And that has really been the backbone of all of this. And I, like everybody else, trust the police wholeheartedly. I know Andy Block, we support him, we support all the officers. I've said it before, we've all said it, and we'll say it again, that we have the best, most wonderful police department that anyone can imagine. And every time in my 6 years here that I have heard anything about the police, and we say, oh, police best practices, what should the police be doing? I turn around, another commissioner turns around and asks the police department, and they tell us, oh, we've been doing that since 2002. We started that in the 90s. We were the first ones to do this. We train everybody else on how to do that. That's the police department we have. So I think the question tonight is not the Lower Merion Police and our trust of them or their actions. I'm not seeking to change their actions in any way, shape, or form. I know they're going to stand up. I know they run to the front of the line, and they protect us. But now it's our turn. We are not doing our job up here. It's my personal opinion, not speaking for all the commissioners. We should stand up and say, we are Lower Merion. We will lead. This is what we believe, and this is what we stand for. I also wholeheartedly agree with Vice President Woodring that in doing so, in passing this resolution, which we should pass, it is just a symbolic public statement. But symbolic public statements have power. Those words are powerful, that this township is not going to be rolled over. Nobody can think that we are a friend to anything that ICE is doing. None of us are. And so I will close just by saying we have to continue to fight for this democracy. This isn't a partisan issue. This is just a fundamental lowercase democracy issue that we need to have another 250 years. And I think things like this resolution is a good and fortifiable step of that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Whalen. Any other commissioners wish to respond? Commissioner Bernhardt.
Thank you very much. I'll steal your opening line. I really wasn't planning on saying anything because we probably came to that point where everything that needs to be stated has been said. It's just that everyone hasn't said it yet. And so the only thing that I'd like to do is really address this group. And Mr. Hogan, thank you for bringing the scouts out here because they got to witness something that I wish would take place in Washington. As you can see here, it's a group of thoughtful people who agree or disagree, but they are not disagreeable. And that the takeaway that you should have from this evening is that, at least at this level, democracy really works. Where we listen to people who come forward, we process what they say within our own judgments, we debate it amongst ourselves, and then we make a decision. And then after that decision, we move on to the next thing. No animosity on this board amongst one another. So when you walk out of this room, if you're not getting exactly what you may want, or maybe you are, you should still, in uniform with that common denominator, walk out and say, I watched democracy in work, and I watched it work well. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bernheim. So I'll just wrap this up. You much in the same spirit of what Commissioner Bernheim just did, which is also to address the Scout Troop. I note that your citizen in the community requirement is to choose one of the issues discussed at the meeting where a difference of opinion was expressed and explain to your counselor why you agree with one opinion more than you do another one. It's kind of an easy assignment for tonight, at least the first part. And I will echo one thing that Commissioner Bernheim said, which is like one of the things that is terrific about this community and also about this board is that I think this evening we have heard expressed an incredible commonality of values and a difference of opinion on how to accomplish it, right? And probably not a very big difference of opinion, but certainly a difference of opinion of how to get the goals that we all share. And I think that first part, that sharing common values, is really like the most important part. Right, the rest is execution of how to get there. And I agree. I think the value of the debate and listening, I'm sure the debate's going to continue, is what I think makes a really terrific board. Right, like people have difference of opinions. You listen to each other, and then you converge, and you vote. And that's democracy. So with that, we're going to go to the next item on our agenda, which is public comment. And so this is only on agenda items, and we have a small agenda, so it's limited scope for public comment. But if you wish to address the board on an agenda item, it's the same process. We use this podium to your left, and please come up if anyone wishes to take advantage of public comment. Yeah.
I just read that on the way in, Bob Weaver, Penn Valley. I used to live in Ardmore, and had a ton of leaves from the neighbors there too, by the way. Did it by hand. Can tell you a leaf blower is a big difference. But parking, right? I think one on the pamphlet here, you're going to eliminate a lot of parking. Half the time I'd walk there, half the time I'd drive. I really don't think you should eliminate any parking in that Ardmore. I don't know anything about it other than what I read in this pamphlet, but I'm not a big fan of what's happened in Ardmore lately with all the development and going on back there. I don't even know. I don't know if you can park in that new apartment building under there. I think you can, but it's told. I don't know. Again, it's been a while since I go to Trader Joe's, but parking is insane. And if you take away parking, it's going to increase the insanity. So just please consider that. Don't take the parking away.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to comment on agenda item?
I do. I'm Katie McGlade again from Ardmore. And I park in Schlafly Plaza a lot, but my point isn't that to preserve that parking space. I love having public space. I think what's even more necessary is really, really good signage. It's hard to find that parking lot on Cricket unless you live here. And if we build more parking to accommodate the train station, whatever we do, I know there's some really exciting plans in place. Let's just make it easier to find. I'm not saying neon, I'm not saying billboards, just lots of good signage would be helpful. Thank you. And thank you for listening to us. And we'll be back.
Adrian Seltzer of Wynwood. Also, I would like to let you know that I support the Shuffle Plaza plan. And maybe everyone doesn't know, but the train station is supposed to open on Monday, as is the parking lot. Hopefully that eases some of the tension over parking. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to take advantage of public comment? Okay, seeing none, does anyone wish to respond to public comment? I will briefly go and just say thank you to everyone who spoke. So parking in Ardmore has been a constant item of discussion, I should say. And the township's doing a number of things along that front, right? Part of it is just parking management, changing the fees for the meters to drive more of the long-term parking to the one Ardmore lot. The issue about signage, I can completely agree with you, and is one of the things that is on the radar to try and improve, as well as finding, other ways to accommodate parking. All of which is, sort of in the planning, runway. And so Schaffel Plaza in isolation looks like it's removing parking, but it's part of a larger area, right? And I think we need to think about it in context. So with that, we will move on to the consent calendar. Does anyone wish to remove any item from consent? As pages 4 through 33 on your packet. Okay, so I'm going to move that we approve the consent calendar as presented, and including the items from the Finance Committee meeting held earlier in the evening. Do I have a second? Thank you, Vice President Woodring, and Secretary Kelly for the roll call vote.
For the adoption of the consent calendar, Mr. Bernheim.
Aye.
Mr. Courtney.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Epstein.
Yes.
Mr. Gregory.
Aye.
Ms. Kramer.
Yes.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Ms. Sparrow.
Yes.
Mr. Timberlake.
Yes.
Mr. Whalen.
Yes.
Mr. Woodring.
Yes.
Mr. Zella. Aye. Mr. Sinai.
Yes.
The consent calendar is duly adopted.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. So we are now on to page 34 of your packet, which is the receipt of design alternatives for Schaffel Plaza and Lot 6. And let me just be clear about this. So we are going to be voting to receive the conceptual plans. We are not voting to approve them. We are not voting to do this. We are just voting to say, yes, we have officially received the plans. If it turns into anything, that's going to be a budget item later in the year. But we have the design alternatives, and that's the administrative stuff. So I'm going to make a motion to approve receiving conceptual design alternatives for improvements to Schaffel Plaza and the adjacent Lot 6 in Ardmore. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Courtney. Any questions from my colleagues or comments? Commissioner Zoloff.
So President Sinai, last week, I said we need option C. I think the report is incomplete. We shouldn't receive it. It's sticker shock, and I said all this a year and a half ago. And so I can't support even receipt, even the administrative action of receiving a plan, because it is missing an option that we should have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Zoloff. Any other comments from my colleagues? Commissioner Bernheim.
I concur with Commissioner Zella.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Bernheim. Anyone else? Commissioner Courtney.
I just wanted to remind everyone that the Schaffel Plaza project has been in our capital improvement plan for probably well over a decade at this point. Yes, the plans that came forward are more expensive than what we had budgeted for 10, 15 years ago when this first came up. But I see no reason to delay further by not receiving this plan when there's ample opportunity to adjust it and determine how we will pay for it and whether we will do it in the future.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Courtney. Anyone else wish to comment on this? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, abstentions? Okay, Madam Secretary, that passes. What was that, 7 to 5? 8 to 5. 8 to 5. Okay. All right, we are now on to page 56 of your packet, which is an adoption of ordinance, chapter 145, vehicles and traffic, Old Lancaster Road loading zone. This is an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Lower Merion, Chapter 145 thereof, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Article 15, Schedules, Section 145, 119, Schedule 19, Special Purpose Parking Zones, by adding a no parking loading zone, trucks only, on the south side of Old Lancaster Road, Haverford, from a point starting 176 feet west to West Montgomery Avenue and extending westerly the distance of 94 feet. This ordinance was authorized for advertisement at the stated meeting of the Board of Commissioners held February 18th, 2026, and was duly advertised in the March 8th, 2026 edition of the Mainline Times in Suburban. So I'm going to move that we adopt ordinance number 4332. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Zoloff. Any questions for staff or comments from my colleagues? Okay, seeing none. Madam Secretary, for the vote.
For the adoption of ordinance 4332, Mr. Bernhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Courtney.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Epstein.
Yes.
Mr. Gregory.
Yes.
Ms. Kramer.
Yes.
Ms. McGuire. Ms. Sparrow.
Yes.
Mr. Timberlake.
Yes.
Mr. Whalen.
Yes.
Mr. Woodring.
Yes.
Mr. Zella.
Aye.
Mr. Sinai.
Yes.
The ordinance is duly adopted.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We're on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business to come before the board? Is there any new business to come before the board? This meeting is hereby adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone.
I was asking, today there was a temporary